Welcome back to your go-to solo lawn care business podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Sutter. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Today, I am recording this for YouTube because I do have a Mowing in the Dark YouTube channel, and I actually found an app that I can do that with, which is awesome. However, I am driving. I'm not flying a plane, even though it looks like I am. And I love planes, guys, so I love planes. If I could be flying a plane right now, I would be. I don't know how. But anyway, so today I am heading out to do a little Walmart sparking, and I apologize for the shakiness of the video. It's just how it's going to have to be because I am driving, and we're in Michigan. The Michigan roads are just absolutely terrible, and you're just going to have to deal with it like I have to deal with it, and everyone else has to deal with it. So I might not be looking at the camera too often today, and of course I've got my sunglasses on. So anyway, this is a podcast episode, right? So make sure that if you get any value at all from this podcast, whether it's in the past, present, or in the future, then please click that follow button up in the right-hand corner of Apple Podcasts, or find the follow button on whatever platform you are listening or watching this podcast on. Make sure that you leave a rating and review. That helps our podcast so much get out into more people's eyes and ears. All right, guys. So, like I said, I am heading out to do some Walmart sparking, but right now, I want to tell you a little bit about what's been going on in my life over the last several months, through the winter months and all that stuff. I don't really talk about it too much, at least I haven't been lately. I've been doing a lot of these episodes that are kind of helping people get their businesses ready for the new season and kind of getting it off the ground and all that stuff. So I am just wanting to share with you guys what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. And it's been busy. It has been a busy snow season this year. We got a lot of snow this year in January. It was super cold and super snowy, which is not normal. So if it gets really, really cold, a lot of times we don't get a lot of precipitation. But this year it got really cold and the lake wasn't frozen yet. So all the snow that was coming over the lakes picked up moisture and it dumped it on us. And we got a lot of snow this year, which was good. That was really good because the last couple of years have been just duds. There has not been a lot of snow. So I have been fairly busy with that, maybe 1 or 2 snow pushes a week, sometimes not as much to do, but still doing work and staying pretty busy with the snow work. And then just been doing a lot of different stuff, trying to get taxes ready. That's always a big deal. Just making sure everything is entered into my software, which I use WaveApps. A lot of you guys, I'm sure, use QuickBooks, or some of you even use the financial side of Yardbook, which is okay. I'm not saying which one you need to use, but I do know QuickBooks raises their prices every year, and it's getting outrageous. And there's a lot of accounting softwares out there that they charge a lot of money to use their software. WaveApps doesn't charge anything unless you're doing using it for payroll or for taking credit cards or things like that. Other than that, they don't charge for their software, and it's really robust. It has everything you're going to need, especially if you're a solo lawn care business owner. It's got everything you need. You can have multiple businesses in there. That's what I do. You can have all sorts of stuff. It's very, very simple to use. In my opinion, I have been using it for 11 years. So, to me, it's easy to use. However, for you, maybe coming from QuickBooks or something else, it might not be as easy to use. But ultimately, it is easy to use. It just takes some time to get to learn, right? Just like everything else. So that's what I used to get my taxes done. So last night, after I got home from driving for Walmart Spark, which is a gig app. That's a gig app if you don't know what that is. And so I drove all day doing that, and I've been doing that a lot this year. I stopped door dashing just before Christmas, and I picked up Walmart Spark, and I make a lot more money doing that, delivering groceries and things like that, than I do delivering fast food, because President Trump and the government, it's not just President Trump, but the government cut some things out of the, what do they call it? SNAP benefits, I guess is what they call it. And so people cannot buy fast food with their SNAP benefits anymore. And that really dried up DoorDash in my area. That was the majority of the orders were coming from low-income households, things like that. Walmart Spark is completely different. Most of the people that order on Walmart Spark are not low income, they're middle class, they're working people that don't have time to go pick up their groceries. So that's what I get to do as a Walmart Spark driver. So I've been doing a lot of that this year. If you are in need of winter income, but you're plowing snow, this is why I do it. If you're plowing snow, you need something that's flexible. You can't just go out and get a part-time job or even a full-time job if you're also plowing snow, unless your employer is super flexible. And so that's why I do these gig apps, because they're super flexible. I can do them whenever I want. I can stop whenever I want. And it just makes life so much easier. There have been days when I have gotten a call from someone that wanted to have their driveway plowed, and I'm out driving for Walmart Spark. If I'm taking an order somewhere, I deliver that order, and then I simply turn off the app, and I run home, I get in my truck, and I go plow the driveway and make an extra $50-$60. And then I can call it a day or whatever I want to do, right? Now, I do have to drive a ways to get to Walmart from where I live. It's like 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes, which isn't bad. And then I do put on quite a few miles when I'm driving. But if you're smart with the orders that you take less orders, which means your wheels are moving less, and you're making the same amount of money or more money. And same thing with lawn care, right? If you have route density, you're making the same amount of money or more if you had driveways lawns all over the place, right? And you were driving everywhere. Same concept, right? Same thing with raising your prices. If you raise your prices, you don't have to add more work to make more money. Same kind of thing, same kind of thinking. So you have to be careful with the orders that you take. So if you're thinking about doing some gig app work, things like that, to just supplement your income through the winter, do it. I would encourage you to do it, because it is very good. I have paid myself pretty well through Walmart Spark instead of my lawn care business and my driveway business. So that's a really good perk to just working on these gig apps if you don't have anything else to do. So that's a lot of where my time has been spent, is driving for Walmart Spark or sitting in my car waiting for orders. And yes, it gets boring. You bet it does. But you can bring a book, you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to books, you can watch YouTube videos, you can do so much stuff. You can bring your laptop with you and work on your books and your taxes while you're sitting waiting for an order. Now, it's difficult because you never know when an order is going to come in, and you got to drop what you're doing and go get the order. So, there's pros and cons to everything, and I totally understand that. But overall, it's a great way to make extra money in the wintertime. Last week, my boys and I have two sons, Marcus and Levi. Marcus is 16 now. Crazy to think that he's 16. The first year he went to the Equip Expo, he was 11. Now he's 16. That is just insane to me. And now Levi is 10, and he will be 11 in July. I think his birthday is in July. I'm pretty sure. It's difficult for me to remember Levi's birthday because he was born right in the middle of lawn care season, and his birth was a very long birth. My wife was in labor for 36 hours, and then he had to spend I think it was 4 weeks or 2 weeks in the NICU, something like that, 2 to 4 weeks in the NICU because he was born early. So for me, it's very hard to remember when his birth date is because we were in the hospital for so long that it's hard for me to remember. But his birthday is in July, and I believe it's like July 17th or something like that. The date, don't quote me on the date. You don't need to know his birthday anymore. I don't even know why I'm saying it. But he doesn't get to go, Levi doesn't get to go to the Equip Expo because he's not old enough. And so he gets sad when Equip times comes around, and Marcus gets to go with me to Equip, and we get to have all this fun, and he doesn't get to go. So we try to go down to the farm machinery show every year. And that's what we did last week. We drove down to Louisville, and we went to the Equip Expo, which, by the way, they're adding on right now to the Equip Expo. And you would be surprised at the changes that have happened from between October until now. They almost have the full shell of a new portion of the building put up. It's ridiculous. They've worked very quickly on this. And so they're adding on to the Equip Expo in the media lounge so I got a media pass this year to the farm machinery show, which was excellent. They were so nice. And they allowed my boys to have media passes as well, which was very nice and very handy because then we didn't have to be split up or anything, which I wouldn't have done that. I would have just worked with my boys and we would have left the show or whatever to eat instead of going in the media lounge. But thankfully they gave me 2 passes for media. They had so much food. They were begging us to eat it. And so we did that, which was awesome. That was very good. And they had a really good setup, and they had posters in there of like AI generated what the remodel is going to look like. It was really cool. They're really going to improve the Equip Expo Center, or the Louisville Expo Center. And so they're really improving it a lot. So just going down and seeing that was really cool because you can see partly why Equip is going to be moving from Louisville to Orlando and back and forth every other year. And, I am excited about that change, but I'm not excited about the expense. And I've talked about that before here on this podcast. That's nothing new. A lot of guys have talked about that, but I am excited for a change of venue. I think that will be really cool. I think it's going to be a good change for Equip. If you want the industry to grow and to expand, this is a good thing. It's going to open the door for a lot of people from the South to go to the Equip Expo. So I totally understand that and get why they are making this change, and it is needed, I think. But I'm not excited about the expense. I'm not going to drive 18, 19 hours to Orlando. I'm not going to do that. I would fly. And I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, whether I can pay for my boys to go or not. I don't know. So that is going to be something that I'm going to have to work towards and save for a lot, because it's going to cost a lot more to go to Equip. And you know what? When you think about it, there are plenty of people that pay a lot of money to go to equip, and they find value in it. And so thinking about those people, guys from Canada, guys from Australia, they're spending a lot of money to come to the Equip Expo. I should be willing to throw down for that too, because there is value in it. There is value in the show. Now, maybe maybe I won't be able to afford it, and I'll have to go every other year just to Louisville. But I definitely want to go at least once to Orlando to see that expo. So anyway, we went to the Louisville Expo Center this past week. We spent Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday there. We got a crappy hotel because we didn't decide to go until late Tuesday night. This was a very spur of the moment trip. I thought about it for about 3 days, but didn't make the decision until Tuesday night. So we actually booked our hotel Tuesday night, and it wasn't a great experience at the hotel, let me tell you. So we got a Country Inn and Suites, which it's not the greatest hotel to begin with, but we got there. They didn't tell us that they were remodeling the hotel. So they had all the old beds, all the furniture, not all of it, but some of it in the lobby. They had some of it sitting out in the parking lot. I mean, it looked pretty ghetto when we got there. But we booked our room, and the hotel was not clean. The furniture was nasty. It wasn't great. The beds were fine. The beds were clean. The beds were fine. All the linens were clean for the most part. We had one washcloth that was really nasty, but other than that, it was fine. Everything looked good. We had a chair in our room that was gross and a couch that was gross, but it was a place to sleep. We weren't there long. And so we had a good time. It was a fun time being there together with my boys and just having fun. Looking at equipment, we did make a couple of videos. I am working on editing those. You'll see some shorts coming out on the YouTube channel as well. It was just a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. We had a good time. We did a lot of walking. We met up with a couple of guys there that are in the agriculture space and not so much the lawn care space at all. But that was fun. That was just fun. It was a good time. Yes, it did cost me money, and I was not too pleased about spending that much money to go. But you know what? It's time that I cannot get back with my boys. It's time that I cannot get back with them. Marcus is potentially only with us at home for another 2 years because he'll be out of the house, and he's a year ahead in school, so he'll graduate a year early. He could move out a year early. You just don't know. Now, of course, you have to be 18 to do some things like rent an apartment and things like that. But, I mean, the time is running out fast. So, I was pleased to take that time with my boys, to be able to just spend it with them. And we had a great time. We went out I know there are guys in the LCBU that don't like El Nepal. We went to El Nepal. The food was great. It was really good. We thought it was really good. Now, of course, it was just our table. We didn't have 20, 25 guys there to feed, right? So the service was great, and the food was excellent, and we enjoyed it. And we actually had some leftovers, so we took the leftovers back to our hotel room and saved them for the next night. We saved some money that way, and we ate those for dinner, which was fantastic. That was really good. And we actually got to sit in the hotel room, just have fun, and look at all the equipment magazines that we picked up. The boys love to pick up the equipment magazines and just look it over and things like that. So that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. We watched Mike Rowe on TV, and we just had a good time. Now, it was a little difficult because my mom we found out Wednesday, I think it was midday or in the evening, something like that my mom ended up in the hospital, and she's got some kidney issues, and she's got heart issues. I guess she's got some serious-ish heart issues going on. I don't want to go into too much detail. I know my parents listen to my podcast, so hi, Mom and Dad. But they're still in the hospital today, and they're just waiting for, doctor stuff, tests and stuff like that. So if you remember my parents in prayer, that would be really good, because they are going through it right now. They've had a lot of things coming up lately. So with all that being said, we had an awesome time at the Farm Machinery Show. If you get a chance to go or take your kids, it is kid friendly. They have a whole store up in the upstairs of the Equip Expo. They have die-cast toys and tractors and stuff up there. All sorts of stuff. Very, very cool. And then they have the National Tractor Pull Championships or whatever at the show as well that you can take the family to. That was really cool. Our passes would have allowed us into the pits of the tractor pull, but we decided not to go. We've been to the tractor pull before, and we were a little bored with it, so we didn't go to that. We're not tractor pull kind of people, so we didn't go to that, but I've seen some clips, and it looked pretty cool, of just some of the runs and the guys that won and things like that. That was really awesome. So we just, also the media pass got us free parking at the show as well, which was really cool, because that saves you a lot of money. Parking for the Farm Machinery Show is $20 a day, and it's not super expensive, but if you do make content like I do, and you're going to be making content at that show, why not? They want you to use it. They want you to make content at their show. They want you to share the show with everyone, with all your followers. They want you to know that you can do that, and they'll feed you. They'll give you free drinks. Now, water, pop, not alcoholic drinks. And they give you a space to do editing and uploading and all that stuff. It was really, really a fantastic way to go for me as a content creator to be able to get that media pass. And because we did have that media pass, we did spend a lot of time making content, because I'm not going to go and not make content when I have a media pass. That's something that bothers me. If you go to the shows like the Equip Expo or the Farm Machinery Show and you don't intend or make content there, you should not have that media pass. I'm sorry, you're abusing the system, and that could lead to everyone losing it, and we don't want that. So if you're going to go to the show, don't just get the media pass because you have a YouTube channel or because you have a podcast. If you're not going to make content there, don't apply for the media pass, because you're abusing the system, and I don't like that. But anyway, it was a great show. It really was. There wasn't much new there. After I got back home and watched some videos, there are a few new things that came out. There are a few new compact tractors. All of my content is basically based around compact tractors. There's not any new brands out there for tractors. I noticed that there were some brands that were not there at the show this year. There was a lot of smaller booths this year. There was a lot of repeat equipment. Of course, there always is. But there was a few new tractors and things that were coming out on the market, and they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. I was very intrigued by Coyote this year. They have some really good offerings for tractors. And I honestly, I am considering switching from a Ventrac to a tractor. And part of the reason is cost. Part of the reason is the Ventrac, while it's great, it doesn't have a lot of lifting capacity, and you can't lift things high, right? You can't lift things up high. I just have the power bucket, which is just low. It doesn't go up high at all. It maybe goes up 18 inches. And that's cool for moving mulch or moving gravel, which I use it for. But you can't lift things up and dump it into a dump trailer. Also, the attachments for tractors are way cheaper, because there's so many companies that are making tractor implements. And so that drives the price down because it's competition. Ventrac has very little competition. There are two companies in the space, really one company in the space now, because they bought out, what was the other? Steiner. They bought out Steiner. Bobcat has a Steiner-like, basically a Steiner, which is basically a Ventrac, and they basically can swap implements, right? So those are the only two in the space that take these kind of attachments. So the attachments are very expensive. Very expensive. I can get a rotary cutter for a tractor on Marketplace for $500. A good one for $500, right? It might be old. It'll still do the job, right? You can't buy a Ventrac Tough Cut for under $3,000 used. You won't find it unless it's really crappy and really old. That implement right there is like $6,000 to $7,000 today. Same with the power rake. I can buy a power rake for a tractor for around $7,000. I cannot buy a power rake for a Ventrac for under 10 used. So definitely a different kind of cost with this. So, and there are other programs like, and I'm sure I would not qualify for this, but if you have land, like I think you have to have a certain amount of acreage to be able to get a discount, like an ag financing or whatever, for your piece of equipment. So that helps because agriculture gets better financing than the regular homeowner does. So there's a lot of options with a tractor as far as buckets, as far as tools, as far as all kinds of implements that you cannot get for a Ventrac. They're way cheaper. So that's why I'm looking at it. I'm considering it. I haven't made the decision yet. I take a long time to make decisions because I want to make sure that I'm making a good decision. And so that's what I do. So overall, that's what I've been up to, guys. Just working. I have been working, trying to survive because, let's be honest, this past year for lawn care, it was lean. It was very, very lean. It's not what I'm used to. I used to make $80,000 in my lawn care business. Last year, I made just over $20,000 in my lawn care business because I moved locations and I moved areas and I had to start over. That's hard. That's hard. And that is scary. So I have just I've had my nose to the grindstone driving for Walmart Spark, trying to make money anywhere I can. And so that's why I have ads on the podcast. That's why I have sponsorships and all that kind of stuff, because I need to survive, right? And you've seen, especially with podcasts lately, you've seen a lot of guys, even guys in the LCBU, drop off. They're not making podcasts anymore because they weren't making any money. They stopped being excited about it. They felt there was no value in it because they weren't making any money with it. I get it. I totally get it. And I'm not making a lot of money with my podcast, but I'm making something. That keeps me motivated, right? Having a sponsorship keeps me motivated to make an episode a week. That's all I can really do right now. I got to focus on making money. So that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing. I've been trying my best to put out really good content for you guys on YouTube and on the podcast. And so if you guys appreciate that, make sure you go subscribe to the Mowing in the Dark Lawn Care podcast on YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe to Sutter Brothers Lawn Care on YouTube. Also, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. You can go up in the right-hand corner of Apple Podcasts. There's a little plus button there or something. You can click that and subscribe to the podcast. Turn on notifications so that you don't miss an episode, because I'm trying to put out really good value for especially the solo lawn care operator. All right, guys, that's it for this episode. I hope you got some value out of this. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you in the next episode.